Hello, it's me, Devin, and today I'm here to talk about Hadestown, the musical, now playing at the Walter Kerr Theater in New York City. This is a great musical if anyone gets the chance to see it. It's about Greek mythology, so I want to tell the story because it is a familiar story that we all have heard before, but we might not remember off the top of our heads. And I want to go ahead and explain the main characters because they have backstories as well as being characters in this story. So first we have Hermes. Hermes, for the purpose of this musical, he is a messenger to the gods. He plays the narrator throughout this musical. Hades is the god of the underworld. People often compare him to like Lucifer or Satan. Well, because they've seen Hercules, the animation, and so they assume he is angry and evil in and of himself. No, he is not. He is. This exists in a universe where there is no God or Lucifer. So imagine that God and the devil are combined into one, and that is Hades. Alright, next we have Persephone. She is Hades' wife. She is the goddess of vegetation, and she is under contract with Hades to spend 6 months with him in the underworld and 6 months on the land of the mortals, which is where the seasons come from. Spring and fall are because Persephone has returned or has gone down to be with Hades. Next, we have Orpheus. Orpheus is the son of a muse, and we know the muses are quite musically gifted, and so obviously Orpheus is quite gifted musically as well. And then rounding out the main characters of this show is Eurydice. Eurydice is a nymph. Okay, I really like this story because it feels like a history lesson as well as a musical, which is very nice because, in one aspect, you're enjoying a musical, but in the other, you're gaining knowledge. So, the story goes that Eurydice dies and goes down to the underworld and is with Hades. Orpheus then somehow follows her down to the underworld without dying and pleads with Hades to let her return with him back to the land of the living. Now, Orpheus, because he is so musically gifted, he plays a song that melts Hades' heart, and he allows Eurydice to go back to the mortal world with Orpheus on one condition. As they journey back to the mortal world, Orpheus is not allowed to turn around and look to make sure Eurydice is behind him. He has to just trust that she is there and keep going. And this works until the very end of the journey. Orpheus starts to doubt that Eurydice is there and looks back with just enough time to see her fall back into the sea of dead people. Okay, the cast I want to mention real quick. We have Reeve Carney as Orpheus. He was great. He really brings an innocence to the role that Orpheus is supposed to have in real life. Eva Noblezada plays Eurydice. She was not there when I saw it. One of her understudies was on, and because I had seen George Salazar's understudy in Be More Chill, and he was really good, I was not too worried, but I kind of wished that I had seen Eva because she was Tony nominated for the role, and so I bet she brings something real special to it. Patrick Page played the role of Hades, and his voice is so deep, it's wonderful. I thought he did a really great job as Hades. Amber Gray played the role of his wife, Persephone, and she was so great. She was like a breath of fresh air whenever she was on stage. I just loved it. And then Andre DeShields played the role of Hermes, the narrator, and boy, he was so good. I was so happy he ended up winning the Tony because he really deserved it. He had a way of owning the stage and the audience. We would we were in the palm of his hand and would do basically whatever he said. He was really good. I want to talk about the live band that was on the stage during the production. The band made the show even more intimate feeling than it already was, and made you feel somewhat like they were performing just for you, if that makes sense. I thought it was really cool, and I felt they were part of the show, which is very nice for the band, I'm sure. I also want to talk about the set. The set, it seems very rustic and old and weathered. It was really, really effective and really neat. I also want to mention that this play, you can tell by the music, it is New Orleans style, which I loved. I thought that was so cool and so different because there are not that style of show, that style of music on Broadway right now, which I loved that they brought that into the mix. The the New Orleans style fits in perfectly with the set, which seems like it belongs in like a club or a bar in New Orleans, and it was great. Everything in the show was symbolic. From there were stairs going up to where Hades is, and when they were down in Hadestown in the show, the people that would have been above, like the fates, for example, were up the stairs, and it was so symbolic of like the fates can travel between the worlds, so they are in between, if that makes sense. And finally, what I did want to mention was how great I thought the New Orleans style was, because in New Orleans they celebrate death instead of mourn it like most people do. They play music and they dance, and so I thought that was a perfect additive into this show that is where they sing and dance and play music, and it's also about death. So, anyway, as you can tell, I really loved Hadestown. If you get a chance, go see it in New York City. I'm sure there will be a tour of it at some point. And so, if you get a chance, go see it regardless. Thank you and see ya.
Way down, Hadestown, way down under the ground.